to put yourself forward. And I said, here I am. Yeah? I will make the children's clothes. I make clothes. I will make the children's clothes. And that's where we started Rough and Tumble. She said, what sign are we putting up on the canopy? In those days, there were canopies. We went to all the bazaars of the churches. And she said, what name is she going to put? What are you doing exactly? I am making clothes that children can rough around in because I'm tired of stuffy clothes and stuffy children. We want children to have a sense of playfulness and childhood. And she said, I will draw a drum with children tumbling out of it to show the playfulness. And I said, that's the name, Rough and Tumble. And that's how Rough and Tumble was formed. So there was no big strategy session. There was no big consulting firm to found the name Rough and Tumble. So Gatimo Limited is the holding company because Rough and Tumble is a brand. Yeah? And under Gatimo are the different brands, the Betty O School of Fashion, which I started in honor of my mother, who really made me the woman I am today. I grew up with a woman's woman. She's not Nigerian by birth. She's Scottish by birth, but lived in Nigeria for 50 years of her life. And she taught me that in this society, as a woman, your financial independence is not negotiable. It is non-negotiable. So you can choose to be a stay-at-home mom, and whatever the consequences, you live with it, or you can choose to have some money in your pocket, so you can live the life of your dreams, the life that you were destined to live. Because if you live in England, you will be a number and a statistic. But if you live in Nigeria, you can be anybody, anything, be, do, or have anything that your heart desires. That is the country we live in. That is the Nigeria that we live in. The other brand under the Gatimo label is the Gatimo Apparel Manufacturing Company. And I will tell you a bit about that later. Then there's Timotiwa, which I absolutely love. That is our Afrocentric brand. So all the Ankara you see in our stores is actually under the label Timotiwa, still belongs to Rough and Tumble, still belongs to the Gatimo Apparel. And then, of course, social impact I share because I care. I got the hang of this now. I'm not that bad. Well, I thought I did. I pressed it. Nothing happened. So let's give it another press. Help, SOS. Okay, so it takes a little while to respond. I love this picture. This photo. It was taken probably, I don't know, some 20 odd years ago, when we were trying to get into Abuja. And this picture was actually taken in my garden, and Zuma Rock superimposed on it. But I love the flag and the way the flag is flying. You know, I can't have been anything other than who I am. This country allowed me to be that person. This country gave me the opportunity. Nigeria gave me the opportunity to be the woman that I am today, to start the businesses that I started today. I don't know what would have happened if I was anywhere else. All I know is that I owe who I am to this country, Nigeria. So I am very proudly Nigerian. Now, I like to do something. I like to show where I'm coming from in pictures. And honestly, this is where Rough and Tumble started. And what I would say to you is, despise not your humble beginnings. And where you are coming from will never, unless you allow it, dictate where you end up. It is a beginning, but there is an end that you have in mind. But who you become in between and on that journey is up to you. Yeah? So, I listened to the vision that God set upon my heart, and I chose to begin with what I had. I chose to begin with the small amount of money that I had. Not every business needs to begin with millions of dollars or millions of naira. You have something, just start. Just begin. Somebody is waiting for you. Somebody is waiting for your actions to help them take action on their lives. So don't wait for perfection. Just begin. From there, we went to this little store. Oh my goodness. I didn't want to own stores. I wanted to be a manufacturer because I just love manufacturing. I love making things. I grew up in an environment where we made things. And I loved to produce things. So I wanted to retail the children's clothing. What happened? Nobody was ready to buy things that were made in Nigeria. People were telling me that because it's made in Nigeria, it will not be of good quality. Hello? Are you not made in Nigeria? I mean, come on. Yes. So by default, what you are actually saying is that you are not good yourself. So when are we going to learn to trust who we truly are and believe that we are capable? And so I decided to open my first retail store. I tell you, this store was literally 4 meters, the size of this space. Literally. This is not even 4 meters, it's like 3 meters or 2 point something. It literally was 3 meters by 6 meters. But it was a beginning. I didn't care what anybody thought. I was on this mission. It wasn't even just a journey. It was a mission now. It had become a personal mission to prove that all good things can come out of Nigeria. It was a mission to prove that Nigeria can be synonymous with good quality. You can be synonymous with good quality. It is dependent on what you value, your belief systems, and what you believe is true for yourself. So, this first store sold in one day that it opened what Pack and Shop was struggling to sell for 3 months. So should I still have been waiting for Pack and Shop, we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be telling this story. Make a choice, make the decision, make the move, trust yourself and go for it. From there to here. And I call this eyes wide open, not wide shut. A lot of people are walking around and they can't see. They don't see because they are distracted. And I was coming back from the Lagos Business School one day. And in class that day, the lecturer had said, are you going to be that small business that everyone comes back 30 years later and you stay the same? Do we know businesses, neighborhood businesses like that? They just stay the same. It was as if she lit a rocket up my backside. I thought, no. I mean, she painted such a graphic picture that I thought, I'm not staying in that small shop. We're moving to the next level. Whatever the next level is, we're going to find it and we're going to do it. And I was so used to being focused on looking at the store when I'm coming back from Lagos Business School that I completely did not look on the left side of the road. And this day, I looked on the left side of the road. And what did I see? To let. And I stood there and said, you're my next level. I'm coming after you. So, called the number. Anyway, cut a long story short, paid for the first time in my life. I signed a check, paying 5 years rent for a building that wasn't mine. I can tell you my hand was shaking. Truly, because I was asking myself, do you really know what you're doing? But then again, I learned to quiet the voice of doubt in my head. And I learned to raise the voice of hope. The voice that empowered me to dare. The voice that encouraged me to dare. The voice that said to me that I can be, do, or have anything in this land. So long as I am willing to do the work, I can do it. So self-belief, self-trust, the choice is yours. I will keep saying those things. And so from there, I remember even here when I was trying to raise money from the bank, and they all looked at me like, but you're selling children's clothes now. So, I mean, what is the big deal? Ask Oga for money. I have never been so insulted in my entire life. I am coming to you, having fastidiously paid all the money, everything, the turnover through the bank, and you are telling me, go and ask Oga for the money. What I pay to you? Honestly, because I was so infuriated. But you see, that negative energy became positive energy because it propelled me to now prove that, you know what, you will see me. Just wait and see. My mother always told me that success is the best revenge. Especially when you come from a polygamous family. You just go out there and be successful. Everything else will be fine. So from here, and having the belief that it can't just be this. There has to be more. I'm pressing it again. Okay, it has delayed gratification. Good lesson. So going here, to borrowing 200 million naira in a business that the industry was unstructured. There was no information about the industry. There was really, I was literally building the industry as I was going along. So walking into a bank and saying, I bought this land on Isaac John, I want to build it and I need 200 million. What are you going to do for me? And I went to 6 banks and they rejected me. But every time I was rejected, I realized that there was something missing in my presentation. And from every single rejection, I learned to rewrite the story in a way that made it possible for one bank to finally say, we will support you. It was a big thing at the time because the building itself was the asset. The land was the asset. They asked me for collateral. I said, if you all keep asking me for collateral, this is the collateral. So when we're done with this, you can hold the papers of the house till I finish paying you, and then you can give them back to me. Know what it is you want, and don't be afraid to ask. 6 rejections later, the bank said, we will support you. Boy, I almost fell off my chair, to be perfectly honest with you, on that day. But what I learned also was that I was good at the commercials in terms of the branding, in terms of the product, in terms of the customer, in terms of all those soft things that make the business possible, not the finances. So by the time I got to the front of this other bank, I had a finance guru. He spoke the language the bank wanted to hear. They had stressed the figures. They had stressed the numbers. I'm a creative. I like numbers because I need to survive and thrive. But my natural instinct is not about the numbers. It's about the creativity. It's about innovation. And I believe that those things also have a very powerful place in the life of any business. So, was it a risk? Yes. It's valued at 3.6 billion naira today. If I didn't take that risk, we would never have that. We would never have it. So who really are we? We are a lifestyle brand that is serving and connecting generations across the world. Now somebody said to me that she used to buy rough and tumble. Just here today, I can see you. Yes, you did. And I said, we're waiting for your grandchildren. That's the next generation. That's the generation I'm in. I'm a grandma in waiting. Yes, and that's what you are, a grandma in waiting. So the next generation of customers are waiting for grandmas who are not paying any more school fees to come and shop and spoil their grandchildren. Yeah? Our mission is to provide superior designs, good quality products, and exceptional services while we're creating memorable experiences for children, families, and communities. The values that have upheld us are innovation, teamwork, respect, service, integrity, and excellence. Excellence is totally non-negotiable. You have to have a set of values that define who you are and what you want to do, both in your professional life as well as in your personal life. But we'll get to that. So, where are we now and who are we now? So we're this group that is Gatimo Apparel, that is Rock and Tumble, and that is Timotiwa. We have 14 brick and mortar stores. We have over 300 employees. We have 24, I beg your pardon, 24 functional business units. We have an e-commerce platform, and we have a state-of-the-art manufacturing facility for school uniforms and workwear. Now, the thing is, what kind of a mind, given the challenges that we face in Nigeria, what kind of a mind does an entrepreneur in Nigeria, or anywhere in the world for that matter, need to have? And for me, it was about seeing what was invisible. The vision was a vision. It was invisible. It was not tangible. My journey was to make it a reality and to draw the realness, make it real, if you like. To believe in what was impossible. Nelson Mandela always says, it's always impossible until it is done. And I am an eternal optimist. I refuse to give up. I believe in myself and I trust myself. And then to trust the X factor, the unknown. You don't know what will happen. You don't. Nobody does. You can line up your ducks in a row and one may decide to go south. But that's what happens, and you embrace the unknown, believing that life happens for you, not to you. Because when you say life happens to you, it's a victim mentality. When you say life happens for you, you see the opportunities that arise from whatever the challenges are. And so you position your mindset to be able to take charge of those opportunities in the challenges. And what I learned along this way is that to conquer the world, you must first conquer yourself. You are the biggest investment you are ever going to make. You are the investment. You are the asset. Your mind is the most powerful tool that you have as a human being to be the truest, the highest form of expression as God intended you to be. You must realize the power that lies in your mind, the power that you carry in your being as a spirit being, the power that has been implanted in you to become a useful, purposeful, dynamic, impactful human being. Woman. So to lead others, I had to first learn to lead myself. And self-leadership is self-discipline. If you have no discipline, you are not going to get far. Success doesn't know gender. It doesn't. It doesn't know whether you're a man or you're a woman. It doesn't even care. It doesn't care to know. All it cares to know is that you are connected with the vision, you are committed to it, you are consistent, you are driven by excellence, you have the desire, a compelling desire to be, do, or have what it is that God has set upon your heart. Everything else falls in place along the journey. But you must first take ownership. You must first lead yourself. And we tend to think of discipline as punishment. Does anybody understand what I'm talking about? Yeah? You don't realize that actually self-discipline is the highest form of self-love. It's the only way you can actually truly love yourself is to discipline yourself. It is not punishment. So one of the things I learned in life was to reframe the way I had been taught that discipline was. When I had discipline, I thought of my father. I thought of my school teachers. I thought of the red marks on my school papers that showed failure, where you got 1 out of 20 instead of 19 out of 20 that your parents wanted you to get, or 20/20 that your parents wanted you to get. So we can get frozen in fear because we think that discipline is punishment. And because we think discipline is punishment, what we tend to then do is we procrastinate. And you know what happens? How many cheap procrastinators? I hope there are no procrastinators here. Oh, you're working on it. I'm always working on it because I'm a human being. So I like to deal with my own humanity and admit to myself. My mother used to tell me, unto thine own self be true. You can lie to the world, but you must never lie to yourself. Well, I'm not saying lie to the world, by the way. Yeah? So in reframing discipline, you realize that is the highest form of self-love. Then what do you want? What do you want out of the gift of life that you have been given? If you do not know, your life is a gift. Of all the human beings that could have been born in all creation, you, woman, you have been born. You have been born as a vessel. You have been born as a channel. You have been born as a nurturer. You have been born as a builder. What are you going to do about it? What do you want to do? What do you want to use it to do? The question is, who do you need to become to release that power that is within you? There's something that I teach that is called present state and desired state. And present state is where you are. Desired state is where you want to be. In between the two of them is self-discipline, is procrastination, is everything, every excuse that you need to overcome. As they say, success lies beyond the tasks that you refuse to do, beyond the goals that you refuse to set, beyond the meetings that you refuse to hold, beyond the phone calls that you refuse to make, beyond the first steps that you refuse to take. Success is on the other side of that. So it's important to define the habits and the routines and create the process. There is a system. Anybody who tells you and cannot explain a system to you of how they became wealthy, don't listen to them. In fact, run as fast away from them as possible. Yeah? And material possessions does not always equate success. There are many people who are driving very expensive cars, wearing very expensive clothes, wearing very expensive watches, who are miserable. So you need to know what you want and define what success looks like for you. Then you take that and you refine it as you progress, because the different seasons in your life, you will keep redefining as you grow. You will not be the same person you were a year ago, or stick to who you were a year ago. You are evolving, because that is what we do as human beings. We evolve. And anything that is not evolving, what happens to it? It dies. It just dies a natural death. There's no need to stress over it, because you know that it's just going to be buried. And as I said earlier, success doesn't know any gender. Yeah? So what are these habits and these values? I don't play with my spiritual practice. I'm not a church-going somebody, and I'm not a religious person. But I'm a spiritual being, made in the image and likeness of the God who created the heavens and the earth. So my spirit is connected to God. I don't need an intermediate. I don't need an intermediary. I like to think of myself as a mini representative of God on earth, doing incredible things. And your spiritual practice is what is going to help you harmonize all the different moving parts of your life, especially us women. There are so many moving parts for us in all the different seasons of our lives. I don't believe in work-life balance. I never have done and I never will. But I believe in the harmonization, having identified the 7 pillars. 7 is a number of perfection, is it not? Having identified 7 pillars of life, I believe in the harmonization of those 7 pillars to serve me, to enable me, be of service to humanity. Now, those 7 pillars are a different class, but I will tell you just very briefly what they are. Your spirituality, of course, is one. Wealth is non-negotiable. You gotta have your own money. Yeah? Your career, growth, your health, you have to look after yourself mentally, emotionally, physically. It is your responsibility. Lifestyle, how you choose to live. A 5-star life, a 7-star life, or a 1-star life. The choice is yours. Family, Yoruba people say, family is not only blood. There are people who become your family by virtue of the values and the values that you share and the belief systems that you hold. Very, very important. And of course, lastly, community. You cannot be blessed and not be a blessing upon other people. Yeah? So, overcoming yourself, controlling your perspective, these words, I had to go back into the dictionary to learn the meaning of the word commitment. Am I committed? Or do I just like what I'm doing? What does commitment mean? What does it mean to be consistent? It means that no matter whether it's raining or not raining, there are no excuses. There can be no excuses. You find a way to be resilient. What does it mean? What did it mean to me to be resilient? It meant that nothing was impossible. Persistent, never give up. You have to have a clarity of purpose and intention, because in your intention is your purpose. In your purpose, you will find intention, or you create intention. The power of your focus. I cannot emphasize this point. The power of focus, to avoid distraction in a very distracted world. Where are you focused on? What are you focused on? Are you focused on the outcome, the North Star, where you want to go? Or are you going to let all the speed bumps on the way, are you going to let them hold you hostage in your mind and turn you into a procrastinator? Be open to learning to listen and learning to hear, like learning to see. Because there are many people who are, it's almost like a daze, and they're just on this treadmill every day. No, you need to pull yourself out. You need to go into your quiet space. That's why your spirituality is important. You need to hear God. You need to hear yourself. You need to trust that he who says that he has set before you abundance and lack, that you should choose. He says that you should choose. He gives you the power to choose. So what are you focused on? Are you focused on a Nigeria that doesn't work? Or are you focused on a Nigeria where you are part of the solution? Where whatever your gift is or whatever your service is part of the solution to bring Nigeria out of where it is. Is that your focus? Yes? Yes. I like that very loud yes from them. So I learned to be an eternal optimist. I learned to grow where I am planted. I learned to grow where I am planted. I learned to submit myself to the process. I learned to submit myself to the process of life. Now, this is the mind that you need to go into a business with. And I put this next 3 slides for one reason. Because people think that you are just selling children's clothes, so what's the big deal? But that's not what it is. I am a fashion entrepreneur, and it is a business. It's not a hobby. To pay 300 people every month. Wow. Oh, 39 seconds left. Okay. So, anyway, let me fast forward all of this that is business. What really, I'll just mention the top things. Your product, yeah? Customer or consumer. For us, we're both. The customer is the child. The consumer is the child. The consumer is the child. The customer is the parent. So somebody is paying, somebody is using. They're not the same people. So we have to find the language to speak to both. Yeah? People. It's about the right people, the right talent, with the right character, with the right competencies, with the right capacity to work with you in building trust, in building the team, learning to communicate, to cooperate, to collaborate, and it takes a lot of training to do that. You can't run a business without systems and processes, without SOPs, without audits, without, okay, delayed response. Okay. The next thing is technology. From our support center, we have CCTV cameras. We use an ERP solution called Odo. We know what sale was made in each state, and we're pan-Nigeria. We know what sale was made in which state, at what time, by whom, and when. Yeah, and what they bought. Yeah, we use technology to analyze data. People say, how have you sustained your business? We use technology to analyze data. What do customers want? What are customers buying? What do they need? It's not about me, it's about the customer. It's about focusing on the customer and meeting the customer at their point of need and making them emotionally attached to you, believing that when they come to you, you solve all their problems. Finance, money has a language. If you don't know the language of money, go and learn the language of money. CAPEX, OPEX, all those things used to drive me nuts. I'm a creative, EBITDA. Oh, I wasn't interested. But I had to learn the language of money because therein lies your sustainability. Yeah? Social impact. Every year we make 500 sets of uniforms for children around Nigeria, around our neighborhood, rather. And we give them school shoes, brand new school shoes as well. There's nothing that gives me more joy than when I see these children in their new uniforms. You see when they receive it, you see when they're changed. There's a big difference. Then in honor of my mother, Betty O, the school that has impacted over 500 women in sewing, learning how to sew so that they are financially independent. Now, out of COVID and seeing the challenges and the opportunities, I'm pressing it, as you can all see. Yes. 2017 devaluation. You know, sometimes we're looking outside for solutions when the solution is right under our noses. Yeah? So 2017 devaluation, what we did was to come together for a strategy session and said, what do we have that we can sweat to get what we want so that we can continue to thrive? And we realized that we were sitting on this factory, this facility, that had only Rough and Tumble as a customer. And it's like, come on, girl, wake up and smell the coffee. There's customers out there who want uniforms. There's customers out there who want other things apart from what it is that you make. So we set aside some money to retool the entire factory, rethink the business model, and lean on those existing assets. And then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, it was like we have a facility. It took me a day, but I made that 1-minute video. 1-minute video that went viral that said we could make cloth masks in Nigeria. The rest was history. By the end of COVID, we had made 1 million masks. I've never made 1 million of anything before in my life. We had made 1 million masks. If you like, don't clap. Me, I'm clapping for myself. I'm so excited and thrilled that as a Nigerian company in the garment industry, we made 1 million of something. Oh boy. Wow. So as an entrepreneur, your ability to pivot, your mindset, having an open mindset, a mindset that is open to learn.